Okay, so I finished the tops of my palm fronds. So now I'm gonna do the separation of the embroidery floss. So I'm gonna pull out once again about an arm's length. Okay, just like so. Snip it, just like that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna count out, I'm gonna separate that tip just a little bit. And then I'm gonna pull out 3 of the strands. So that way I have 3 and 3. And it's good because it's almost like you're cutting 2 pieces of thread at the same time. So just be careful. You don't want to do this too fast. Otherwise it's going to knot up. Okay, just be gentle. Just give it a little tap. Okay, so I'm going to set one piece aside for later because I'm pretty sure I'll be needing that. So now let's make sure that doesn't stay in that giant knot that it's currently in. So I'm just going to run my finger across it just like that to kind of get out any of those funny little kinks. All right, so I'm going to compare a piece of this to what the thread thickness normally looks like. So it's roughly about half. And we'll get a nice skinny line with that. I mean, you can even bring it down to just 1 or 2 threads, but I'm going to stick with 3. So, okay. Once again, pinch the thread at the tip of your finger if you don't have a threader. Pull it through just a little bit, leaving that tail, and then do your knots. Now this might tangle up just a little bit because of the length, and it is a twisted thread, so it wants to bring that twist and that curl back, so just be very mindful. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now we're gonna begin. And we're doing the same exact process, that back stitch all throughout. So I'm gonna start over here once again. And I'm actually gonna start at the bottom. And then I'll just kind of almost do like a Z or an S pattern behind it. Okay, and these can be nice long stitches. And if you want, actually, I'll show you what a single long stitch would look like. So once again, just be mindful, this will knot up at some point. Okay, so I'm gonna pull it through just like that. And now I'm gonna take the needle, come back to the bottom, go to the bottom of that. Oh, you see, right now we have a little bit of the tail coming through from the knot. Not a problem. You're just gonna kind of pick it out, just like that. And if that happens, just go back, take your needle, and gently pick it out. Okay, and I'm just going directly under the stitch. I want to hide the top of that stitch. I don't want to see any gaps. So showing you what I'm doing, I'm going to come back down. I'm going to poke around to find the spot that I need to be in, right there. And then I'm going to go directly under that stitch. And then gently pull it through. Pull these guys out again. Just like so. And you're going to do this the entire way. And sometimes it's nice to change up what your stitch looks like and even the thickness of it. Makes it a little interesting. Okay, checking the back, make sure I'm not getting any knotting. Perfect. Coming back through. And these you don't have to pull super tight. You can leave them a little loose, and it gives it almost like a little bit of a shadow. So you get like a nice 3D effect with it. Pop it on in just like so. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish up these stitches super quick, and then we can move on to the sun, and then we'll finish up with the body. All right, so I finished my palm fronds, as you can see, and now I'm gonna move on to this little bitter baby sun. So like I said previously, I'm gonna be switching different types of thread. So I'm done using the embroidery floss, and now I'm gonna be moving on to using pearl cotton. So just almost like a 2-ply wound string, tightly wound string. So once again, I'm gonna be cutting a piece roughly as long as my arm, give or take a little bit, snip it. I'm gonna be taking the same needle I've been using with a fairly large eye hole. And this is maybe even a little easier to put on a needle just because it doesn't have a bunch of fibers that are separating. So once again, I'm gonna pinch it in my fingertips, kind of shake my needle directly on top of it and give it a good little yank. Once again, leaving a tail about halfway down. I'm gonna tie a few knots at the end. Make sure they're stacked on top of each other. And however you tie knots is probably just fine. This is the way I've just been doing it. And now I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna start anywhere on the circle. So just right there. And once again, we're doing the same stitch. So we're gonna be doing a back stitch all the way around. So go about 1/4 of an inch or less since we are doing a curve here, but depending on what you're doing. I'm just gonna do that. Go back in just like we've been doing across the rest of the piece. I might even keep these stitches a little bit on the small side just because I do have to do a circle. But I know this circle isn't perfect, so that's okay. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this part, and I will be checking back in just a moment. Okay, so I just finished the sun, and now I'm gonna show you how to do fill. So we're gonna be filling in these glasses right here. So I've stopped using the pearl cotton and I've switched back to my embroidery floss. This is a little bit easier to use for fill because it's a thicker thread. So once again, I'm gonna thread my needle just like so, pinch the tip, and then kind of gently guide it through. Sometimes it'll fight you, but that's okay. Make sure you get all the threads in there. Perfect. Pull it through, just like so. Leave that tail. Now I'm going to tie a few knots on the end, just like that. Okay. And it's okay if they separate with this last knot, you can bring them back together, just like that. Okay. So once again, I'm gonna start on the back side. I'm gonna poke around and see, let's say I wanna start right about here. So I'm starting in the middle, and I'm gonna bring this stitch at an angle, and I'm just gonna do one long stitch, and I'm gonna do that continuously until the whole thing is full. So I'm just gonna do that, and I'm gonna pick a point directly across the circle. Pull it through. It might fight you a little bit. Oh, looks like we've got a little tangle. Gently bring that through. So I'm keeping it inside of the black circle. So now I'm just going to go back over here. Once again, don't forget to check the back of your embroidery piece. Just making sure you're not getting any tangles. All right. And then I'm just bringing that stitch super close. So now I've already got a little bit of fill there. Once again, coming back over here, keeping it close, but not in that last stitch, just like so. Pull it through, check the back. Looks like we've got a little bit of a snag, but that's okay. I'm just gonna use a little force and pull that out. Just be wary if that keeps happening. All right. Okay, just like that. Come back in, and then that side is full. I'm gonna do one stitch just in case to be on the safe side, a really tiny one to fill that little empty spot. Great. And now I'm gonna come back and finish this side of the eye. Okay, pull through, come back over here. Once again, this is a great way to add variation in your piece. Also, this will sit directly on top of the fabric, and it's kind of fun to touch because it's almost like a little plush part. Okay, pull that through, and then I'm going to do one last stitch right there in that almost corner, just like so. Pull that through. Looks like I have a tail that's trying to fight. Okay, and then plop it right there. Great. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to finish this eye. So I'm going to tuck that under the bridge of the eyeglasses. And now I'm going to pick a point, once again going at a diagonal. I want to maintain that design choice throughout. Okay. So pull it through, come back there, pull, come right next to it. You don't want to leave a ton of your fabric exposed. It's okay if you do though, not the end of the world. I have a little bit right there. It might be hard to see. Come back, plop it on through, keeping inside of that black guideline. And pulling that just like so. Great, that side's done. Coming back to finish this right there. I'm gonna check the back real quick, see if I got any knots. Everything's looking good. Perfect. And then we just have a few more to go and we will be done with this piece. All right, it looks like I'm finished. Okay, so I did fill. You can kind of see that it's sitting on top of the surface, gets a little puffy. So now I'm just gonna tie it off on the back. Once again, going back under a couple stitches that I did, pulling through the loop. I'm gonna do this 2 times. Okay, great. So I'm gonna tighten that. I'm gonna snip the tail, and now we get to take it off the hoop. After you take it off the hoop, there might be a little bit almost like of a ghost of the hoop still being on there, like a little wrinkle. You can just iron that out real quick. Should not be a problem at all. Move my hoop out of the way. There we go. We are done. And this can be done onto jean jackets, bags, whatever. It might be a little hard to sew through leather. You could even do this on paper, actually. Yeah, but if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. My email address is janiestamm@gmail.com. I hope this was helpful. Have a great day.